Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 254th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And our next teammate is Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. Looks like you got a pretty effective army there. Lots of archers, I notice. And our third teammate is Brotherhood member Gladius, who has bought the Greek cities faction. Now, I'd just like to draw your attention here to, I think Gladius has got 8 Cretan archers. And that's a lot of archers to bring to the modern day battlefield. But I think he's built this army as kind of a custom build for the armies that we're actually facing. So I'd say you've got 8 Cretan archers and I think about 12 Spartans there. And our last teammate is Brotherhood member Crypto, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. Now, just to say, as we've said in other battle videos, Crypto has been making some custom maps. And if you notice around this map, you can see this isn't a usual RTW map. This is one of Crypto's custom ones. You see there, he can put in areas there. There's a slight dip in the ground, and I think it's nice to play on custom maps, because I think playing on the same maps all the time can get a little bit boring. You wait till you see the other team. This should be a great battle for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Stinger, aka Scorpion King SR. So this is RTW veteran Scorpion King SR, and he's bought the Rome Giulio faction. Just like to draw your attention here to he's bought 5 archers. I see he's got 6 cavalry, and I think he's got just 9 infantry. So this is another one of Scorpion King's custom built armies. He very rarely brings the same army twice, and I think he gets a lot of enjoyment from building custom armies using his experience. The second enemy team member is Brotherhood member Uther, who has unusually bought the Egyptian faction. Not very often you see the Egyptian faction on the 31k battlefield. And if you notice, he's got the Pharaoh Guards. I think they're fully upgraded. They're not bad infantry. I think the Egyptian faction is obviously a lot better on a desert map where you've got the desert bonus. So to bring, as I say, Egypt to the 31k battlefield is unusual. If you notice, he's got his Pharaoh archers there protected by 3 units of those guards. As you see, the Pharaoh archers, probably pound for pound, are the best archers in the game. They're so tough you can actually use them as light infantry when they run out of arrows. There's some more of the Pharaoh Guards. If you notice, they've got 9 upgrades on, so that means they are fully upgraded. So it'd be interesting to see how effective they are as the battle develops there. And then he's bought the Desert Cavalry. Now, the Desert Cavalry are only light cavalry, but they've got a bit of a sting in their tail, because if you notice those axes that they carry there, they are effective against armor axes. So even though they are only light cavalry, they have got effective against armor axes. So it'd be interesting to see how well they do during the course of the battle. But as I said, it's not a desert map, so the Egyptian faction does not get the desert bonus. Okay, the third teammate is Brotherhood member Lorenzo. Now, Lorenzo has just come back from about a 7-year break from RTW. And I think this is his, if I remember right, this is his first battle after his 7-year break. As you can see, looking at that formation, that is a kind of formation that was bought 7, 8, 9 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how Lorenzo does, as I say, after a 7-year break on the modern day battlefield. The army looks quite solid there. And then our fourth teammate is RTW player JGP. Brotherhood member JGP there, who's bought the Rome SBQR faction. Now, I'd just like to draw your attention to this wide formation. Now, wide formations, as I said in other battle videos, we used to use 9, 10, 11 years ago, before we actually changed to more in-depth formations. So it's nice to see a bit of old school formation there. So there's the other team. They're all experienced players. This should be a great one for you to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, before we've even formed up here, you can see that Scorpion King, as usual, being very aggressive, bringing his archers forward there, guarded by his cavalry to stop any of our team sending cavalry in to take out his archers there. As I say, very aggressive player, Scorpion King. The armies that he brings may not be conventional, but the way that he uses them uses these custom built armors is usually very effective. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here over on our left flank. As you can see there, he's pulling his cavalry and archers back now after the initial forward movement there to try and snipe some of our units off as they were moving to form up there. As I say, Scorpion King very aggressive, and it should be interesting to see what happens over on this left flank as the battle unfolds there. But as I say, this is a very, very early stage of the game. As you see, we haven't even all formed up yet. So, but as I say, the aggression looks like it's going to be over here on our left flank. So it'll be interesting to see. As I say, I think it's going to start there. Okay, over on our right flank here, you can see that Steve Longshank's using his archers here. We knew that with Egypt being brought to the battlefield, there would be a lot of those tough Pharaoh archers. So I think that's why Steve's bought some archers there. Also, if you notice that JGP's bought some archers as well. So let's say with Scorpion King's 5 archers and the Pharaoh archers as well. This could be almost like a starting of an archer battle there, because I see you can see why Gladius has brought 8 Cretan archers to this battlefield. He'd anticipated that there would be a little bit of an archer battle within this battle here. Let's say my army is right over on the right flank facing JGP's army. Let's just pause again for a second. Just to take stock of exactly what's happening. As I say, here on the right, you can see that my arm is facing JGP's army there. JGP can very often be aggressive as well, so there may well be attack here. If you notice that Crypto's moved his army over from the left flank more into the centre here. I think he's shadowing Scorpion King's Julia army. If you notice, they've moved over a little bit as well. You can see Gladius has split his army into 2, so there's an A and B Greek cities army there. Very often Gladius does this. As you can see, he's got his Cretan archers there, probably targeting the Pharaoh archers, as he knows they could be a threat. And over on our left flank there, you can see Scorpion King moving his cavalry and archers over as well. As you can see, once again, Gladius, always good team player there, moving some of his archers over there to support his allies on the left flank against Scorpion King's archers there, and Crypto's got his cavalry out there guarding Gladius's archers there. As I say, nice bit of teamwork there by both players. And it'll be interesting to see what, as I say, what happens on this left flank there. You can see Scorpion King moving his cavalry round there, supporting his archers again. Always trying to get in on a good angle with his archers there, trying to always shoot into the flank or if possibly the rear of enemy units. I say Crypto's moved over into the centre more, but the reason he did that was to shadow the Scorpion King's Julii infantry there. I say there's a massive archer battle going on out here, and I think probably all over the battlefield there's archers, little archer battles going on. And remember, if you can kill all the enemy archers, that's when you can then start to use your archers even more effectively on enemy infantry units, moving them out to the flank, etc. Right, can you see Crypto moving his blue Scipio army towards Scorpion King's Julii army there, Red Julii army. Now if you notice, Scorpion King wisely moves his infantry back there because he knows he's going to be outnumbered by Crypto's Scipio infantry. And if you notice that, I think Gladius's A Greek cities army is moving forward very aggressively as well there. Let's say there's a lot of mini archer battles going on there. If you notice, there's this Scorpion King's archers there are being targeted by fire arrows by the Cretan archers there. Remember, fire arrows not only cause casualties but lower their morale as well. And if you notice that Crypto's moving some infantry and cavalry over here, looks to me like he'd like to take out those Julii archers. And if you notice that Gladius's A Greek cities army is moving over here with Crypto's infantry, nice bit of team play here on this left flank of ours. I think both Gladius and Crypto know that they outnumber Scorpion King's infantry there, so that's why they're moving so if you like, so boldly forward. Right, you notice that Uther's bought some desert cavalry over here. As I say, that desert cavalry is effective against armor, but I think they really could do with maybe a desert map just to give them the desert bonus there, because it'll just be interesting to see how they do as the battle unfolds, I think. As I say, Crypto with Gladius's A army there moving forward are seem to be moving quite confidently forward, because they know they outnumber the enemy Julii infantry there. If you notice that Uther's bringing over some of his Pharaoh guards, those Pharaoh pikemen we saw earlier, fully upgraded over to help his Julii ally. Let's just pause the game for a second and take stock of exactly what's happening. Let's say there's, if you notice here, can you see that the Julii player here hasn't got a pilot shield unit in open order in front of his main battle line? So he's just got his infantry in close, tight formation. Now, if they're in close, tight formation, they are going to take a hammering from the enemy pilers there. That's why units in open order, pilot shield units, were bought into RTW to protect your main battle line. But as you can see there, he's going to get a bit of a hammering there with his infantry in close formation there. He will suffer a lot of casualties. So you notice Crypto's got his pilot shield units in place, ready to soak up pilers. And if you notice, can you see that both Uther and Scorpion King have got their cavalry at the back of their infantry? If you notice that Gladius's A army is aggressively attacking Scorpion King's Julii infantry here, really pushing forward. If you notice that Uther's got his Pharaoh guards in behind his allies' infantry there, but Pharaoh guards, even though fully upgraded against Greek cities without the desert bonus, not quite sure how that'll do there. But Uther's strategically bringing some more of his Pharaoh guardsmen around the flank here of Gladius's infantry, but my guess is that Crypto will probably have spotted. There you go. Crypto spotted the danger and is sending infantry over to guard his allies' flank there against that Egyptian hit. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here at the moment, it's extremely quiet. Both armies are just all our armies over on that right flank and right centre are just kind of sizing each other up at the moment. And it'll be interesting to see whether any action starts on this right flank, or if it'll be over on the left flank, and the victorious units come over here and start rolling whichever team up from that flank there. But say at the moment here, you can see that you've got Scorpion King's archers and his general there, looking to get an angle in with those archers on probably Crypto's flank. Or if you notice there, can you see Crypto attacking aggressively there with his infantry? Let's say it wouldn't surprise me if Scorpion King started to put those units into Testudo there, as he's got no pilot shield unit in front of those units there. Can you see he's starting to reform them, put them into Testudo, trying to give them a bit of protection. But as you can see, they've suffered a lot of damage there from pilers already. But of course, putting your units into Testudo, you then lose the flexibility of how fast they can move, because they're just basically stuck there. If you try moving them forward, they move forward at a very slow walking pace. So you kind of lose their say flexibility there when you put them into Testudo. But that's the only thing he could do there, to protect them as much as he can from the pilot hits that Crypto's throwing in there. Let's say you can see Scorpion King's aggressive attacking actions there are still in place, still moving out to the right, looking to hit Crypto in the flank. If you notice here, the Greek cities allies punching a hole through the Julii line there. You've got Steve Longshanks bringing cavalry up behind the engaged enemy troops. Nice tactical move there by Steve with his cavalry. Battlefield awareness. Maybe we've talked about battlefield awareness, keeping an eye on everything on the battlefield and sending units over to help where needed. Right, you can see Uther sending in his desert cavalry against Crypto's Praetorian cavalry there. Just to pause again for a second. Let's say over here on the left flank, you can see that Scorpion King's charged his well upgraded cavalry and that infantry general unit into the flank of Crypto's infantry there. Nice aggressive hit again there by Scorpion King, as well as he's taken infantry out of Testudo and charged them in. There's a close-up of those Egyptian light cavalry against the Praetorian cavalry. But my guess, as I say, unfortunately without the desert bonus here, I don't think this cavalry is going to do very well against. There's the effective against armor axes against them. I think Scythian maidens, headhunting maidens, would probably have done better there against that cavalry. As you can see here, the Greek cities there have just killed the Egyptian general. Steve Longshanks is moving his cavalry out to get in behind any engaged enemy troops there. The same nice tactical move, nice battlefield awareness there by Steve. And if you notice that Lorenzo spotted the danger and is sending out reinforcements, either using those as reinforcements or as a blocking force to stop our troops moving over. And if you notice that Lorenzo is attacking with his SPQR troops into the forward units of Steve Longshanks' troops there. And if you notice that JGP has moved his infantry forward as well in what looks like an aggressive, threatening manner towards my infantry. Looking over on our left flank though, it looks like our team's doing quite well. So I'm quite happy to be there to receive an attack by JGP, because it looks like our team's
the enemy general is slain,
not doing too bad there over on the left flank there.
To press the attack.
Let's say Scorpion King always got attacking credentials in this game, and as you can see they're very aggressive attacking with his cavalry. Let's say he took those infantry units out of Testudo and charged them in. Right, can you see that the Egyptian Desert Cav has now routed? Okay, Steve Longshanks got cavalry in behind them as well, plus they were being pressed by the Roman Praetorian cavalry there. So it looks like that most of the Egyptian army and a lot of the Julii army over on our left has been routed. Right, can you see that Scorpion King, seeing what's happening on the left flank, is bringing his cavalry over to join his ally, Lorenzo's cavalry. Just going to pause the game here for a second, because a lot of veterans may well have noticed this. I'll just show you something in a second here. Right, can you see that over on the left flank here, it looks like we've pretty well kind of routed most of the enemy over on our left flank. So we need to move now our units over from the left to the right. But if you notice that Lorenzo and Scorpion King are there on the right. Now I just wanted to show you what's happened here. Can you see there's a massive gap been created in our ranks, in our battle line? There's a massive hole that the enemy are pouring cavalry and infantry through here. Okay, so not a very good tactical move by us there, leaving a massive hole in our battle line there for the enemy to pour through. Okay, we've been victorious on our left, but if we lose our right, then it will be back to being neutral again then. If you notice Lorenzo's really pressing Steve's forward units here. I've noticed, if you notice, I've got my cavalry over there. I've spotted the gap, and I've got my cavalry there to try and protect Steve's left flank from cavalry hits there. If Lorenzo or Julii charge in there with their cavalry, I've got my cavalry ready to counter-attack any of the cavalry there. As I say, if the enemy are really pressing hard here on our right, and if they can try and take out our right flank, they've probably seen what's happened to their allies on the other flank, and they're thinking if they can take us out here, then they'd be able to turn their forces to face our units, allies' units coming over from the other victorious flank there. Right, can you see Steve's moving his infantry back into my formation there? We're kind of forming up to be defensive. Right, can you see I'm moving my cavalry out? I've spotted the rear of the enemy Julii cavalry. Right, can you see they're engaging my ally, and bang, as my cavalry goes into the rear of them. But if you notice that the enemy SPQR cavalry has counter-attacked my cavalry as well there. So I've now turned my attack from the cavalry that I went into Julii's rear. I'm now sending them to attack the SPQR cavalry that's just counter-attacked me there. Okay, so Lorenzo's charged his cavalry in. Also, Lorenzo's thrown some infantry units out there as a blocking force to stop our victorious allies coming over to help us. Meanwhile, we are being really aggressively attacked here by Lorenzo and JGP. They're looking to take, as I say, our two armies out here so they can turn to face our victorious allies moving in from our left flank there. So I say, there's a lot of, you can see his cavalry coming round there. I would think JGP probably get his cavalry in behind to try and go into the flank here. Very aggressive attacking. And as I say, Lorenzo has got his infantry out there to try and block our allies, victorious allies, coming over to help us here. So as I say, the enemies lost that one flank, but they're looking to take our flank out here so that they can turn their armies to face our victorious allies there. Okay, let's see what happens next. As you can see, a lot of our Scipio units are starting to rout here on our right flank. JGP's got cavalry coming round, because if you notice that my cavalry is away helping my allies to try and break through there, break through that blockade that the enemy's put out. So it's left us a bit exposed because Steve's cavalry is over there as well. We're exposed to enemy cavalry hits there, and you can see JGP banging his cavalry in. And bang as that cavalry hits. So we've got infantry pressing in on us, and we've got big cavalry hits coming in on us as well. If you notice, JGP's got a couple of cavalry units in behind us, but I spotted that. If you notice, I'm sending infantry units to counter that cavalry attack. So I'm hoping that my infantry charge bonus will neutralise the enemy cavalry charge bonus there. But with cavalry in behind you, it's always a bit of a danger there, because they can charge into the back of your engaged infantry and possibly cause them to rout. But you can see the pressure on our infantry now. That SBQR infantry is really coming in on me and Steve there. We're trying to hold out long enough for our allies to get across, but that is some real pressure on our infantry. My army is an old army, it's got quite good upgrades on, so I'm hoping it'll be able to hold against this pressure. And with Steve's infantry there as well, fighting side by side, as I say, hopefully we'll be able to hold here. If you notice, I've turned my general to face the rear, just in case there's any roving cavalry comes in behind us. As you can see over here, Lorenzo's put a good blocking force up there to try and stop our allies coming over. Nice little move there from Lorenzo. As I say, after a 7-year break, you can see he's still got the tactical nuance, if you like, the sense there, knowing exactly what to do. But as I say, over on the right flank here, we really are getting aggressively attacked here. The enemy's doing just what they should do, charging in with their cavalry, pulling back, charging in again, each time getting that full cavalry charge bonus. Okay, I'm just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of what's happening, but also to ask you a tactical question here. Right, as you can see, our right flank, as I've said, is being really aggressively hammered here by the enemy SBQR forces. Meanwhile, over here in the centre, you can see that, as I say, Lorenzo's put a good blocking force up to try and stop our allies coming over there. So that's a really good tactical move there by Lorenzo. But what the tactical question is I want to ask you is, if you can see, I've got a few very battle damaged cavalry units here. I've just shown you the general disposition of the battlefield. How do you think you'd use this cavalry if you were in charge of it? I can see there's the SBQR general there. Maybe charge my cavalry straight through my allies' infantry and try and take out the general, therefore lowering the morale of all those SBQR infantry. Or I could take my cavalry around the rear, around the flank maybe, and into the back of those engaged infantry. So what do you think you would do, looking at the general battle disposition, if you were in charge of this battle damaged cavalry? Maybe that SBQR general might be a good target. Let's see what happens. Okay, can you see where I'm moving my cavalry? As you can see, it is extremely battle damaged, but can you see the direction that I'm moving it in there? I've spotted that SBQR infantry that's been aggressively attacking Steve and me is showing me its flank. And from all the way over on that side of the battlefield, I'm hoping that they might not notice that my cavalry is charging in until it's too late. Right, can you see my cavalry charging into the flank of that SBQR infantry, and bang as it goes in there. They say it's very battle damaged, but I'm counted on the SBQR infantry being a bit weak, battle damaged, and morale being a bit low there, and managed to rout some of their infantry there with that cavalry hit. But if you notice, the SBQR cavalry and infantry is still pressing in, trying to break us on this right flank. Steve sent an infantry unit over there to watch my right flank, try and help out a little bit there. Nice move there by Steve. But as you can see, the SBQR units are really trying to press, really trying to break our army here. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, you can see infantry and cavalry really pressing into our Scipio units there, as I said, in an attempt to try and break us. So that is really a great aggressive move there by Lorenzo and JGP over here on our on our right flank. They got cavalry in behind us as well, really trying to, really trying to break us there. As you can see, Crypto's managed to get his infantry over. They've managed to break through that that blockade that Lorenzo sent over there, and we've now got Allies infantry and cavalry making their way over to us now. If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry back in again into the rear of those engaged SBQR infantry. If you notice there's several of the SBQR infantry starting to rout. The cavalry, the SBQR cavalry, still doing quite good there as they charged into counter. But if you notice that Gladius is Greek city units are approaching as well. So the enemy cavalry are charging in again, once again trying to make one more hit on my infantry here on the right flank, trying to break it. But if you notice there, most of the SBQR army, after a really aggressive attacking action over here on the right flank by both Lorenzo and JGP, most of the SBQR units have now routed there. Okay, the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Really some nice aggressive attacking moves there. If you notice that JGP's got some really good kills with the aggressive way that he was using his infantry and cavalry. Really well done to JGP. Well done to Lorenzo. As I say, first battle after a 7-year gap. I thought he played really well. If you notice that both Uther and Scorpion King got round about the same kills there. As I say, Egypt's unusual to bring to the 31k battlefield, especially not on a desert map, but it's nice to see other factions being used. If you notice that Gladius has got the, I think he's got the highest kills in the game with Greek cities. He used them extremely well, and once again, very good teamwork by him, splitting his army into two, using one part of it to be aggressive and attacking, and using the other part as a defensive shield. So well done to Gladius. And just to say, really well played to Crypto, Steve Longshanks and Gladius in the team that I was in. And really well played to JGP, Lorenzo, Uther and Scorpion King SR. I hope you enjoyed the battle. This is Spartan Commander saying look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.